I've got mouth. I got mouth later. I just had some Pringles. My mouth's numb as well because there was salt and vinegar. Bitches.
Oh my God, Tommy.
You are my bitches. Accepted. I gotta turn this off. Just mute that. So, how do I get comfortable? Will I ever get comfortable? Right. So, I was down Ferry Meadows. It took a long time to get down there because... I went to the gym. I did 10 minutes on the bike. I lifted a 6-kilo dumbbell. I walked all the way to Ferry Meadows from... It was just quite a good thing. From the gym on Westfield Road. So when I got there, it was, to be real, it wasn't that dope. Well, that's a bit... I want to be more positive than that. There were a few good vibes down there, but it wasn't the kind of feeling where the sun is out and like there's a whole ton of people down there, you know, all like really vibing off each other. It wasn't like that because there was a very strong wind and it was coming off the lake and it was blowing like crazy and I had to have my hood up so my ears didn't drop off, you know. So that's walking down there, yeah, to the clubhouse. And I got there. I ordered a coffee and a Stella. Down the coffee, and just walked to the bus stop to go home. And just as I got to the bus stop, the bus was coming along, and that was really dope because actually the bus driver says like, yeah, that was good timing, you know. But I wanted to say more because I got on my phone and I looked at the app, and the app said it'd be 21 minutes before a bus arrived, and like this bus just pulled up out of nowhere just as I got to the stop, and that was truly amazing. And I really wanted to say that. I said something about my phone, but I didn't actually explain any of that. I don't want to get too into that because, you know, I'll just stick with So, you know, if you want more of that, all you're going to get is I'm sorry, but, you know. I rang my mum walking back from the calf, the clubhouse, the calf. Rang my mum walking back, had a little chat. There's so much that I want to talk about, but I feel that, okay, being transgender and all, right, I understand that society's rules are absolute bullshit, what you can or can't say. I mean, yes, protect people who don't want to be involved with YouTube. Yes, don't put their conversations on there, you know, or whatever. But there are things I feel, there are things I want to say, there are things I want to explain that it's just not appropriate for me to do that. And that's quite hard. That's quite hard. Yeah. But what I did want to touch on was, you know, actually starting to get into the video. I did want to say that I watched some porn, yeah, and it made me feel it made me feel so real because I was listening to music and it sounded really dope. I was watching like the X-Files and that was really dope. And like my awareness was just like more open and I could feel more. And though this is similar to when I felt anger for the first time because I felt it when I was at the train station and I did sound off a bit. I did shout a bit. And this is like feeling it for the first time. I didn't know what to do with it. I mean, everybody thinks and believes that anger is something that makes you do crazy things. That's the way I've been programmed. That's the way society portrays it. And that's what I thought. And later on, I got angry again. But what I did was I used that anger to write stuff down. I didn't, start shouting at people or whatever. It literally, the feeling that I wanted to do that had gone. And this is similar because that real feeling that I had, feeling so fucking real, it brought in negative feelings that were kind of like disguised as positive feelings. I went places in my mind that I am ashamed of and that I feel that I offended Jesus by going there. I felt that once I'd had the healing of everything seeming more real, everything seeming more dope, I thought, right, I want to heal all the way. I want to heal myself completely. And like the anger, I did it in the wrong way. I just went over the top. I went into negativity. I went into hate. I did. And I thought hate would heal me. And maybe I'm like a little child, maybe I just don't know what I'm doing. I just tried something in an innocent way, and the thing of it was that I wanted to get there, God, it was, I take it back. I don't like saying that, it pops out sometimes. I wanted to get there, I was healing so much and I was feeling so real and I wanted to get there. I just felt like I wanted to get there. And I thought that by having these negative thoughts, that would take me there, that by worrying about situations, what would happen if someone bad came up to me and wanted to do bad things and all this, I started going into that. And then I actually got angry with Jesus and, that was a really, really bad thing to do, and it really upset me, and I cried because I'd done it. And luckily, I realised that I'd made a mistake. I realised that it was all hate. I didn't want to go there. I didn't want any of that. I said, please heal me. Please heal me from this, whatever it is that has entered my soul, Please heal me from that. I don't want this to be a part of my being. I don't want it to be a part of my soul. And it's all good. It's all positive. It's all healing, but that part was negative. It was. So like what it is, it's like, it's having a feeling for the first time and going crazy with it. That's what it is, I guess it's like a teenage kid who drinks for the first time and goes absolutely ballistic and offends a load of people and breaks a load of stuff, can't handle it, sort of thing. I don't know, it's just an analogy, an example that I feel like I want to use. So Jesus took me back. He did. I repented. He took me back. I just want to dial it back a notch, before it gets too much. So I spent the morning. I had some hate of people, and my solution to that was to hate people back. People were making comments to me. I mean, an old lady of about 70 called me a paedophile. And I'm not going to hate on her and explain what is her problem, why she probably said that, I'm not going to go there, because that was where I went this morning, going into like the negativity, because I was still a little bit stuck on going into negativity, going into sticking up for myself and going into the negative. And I'm feeling more positive now, by the way. I've spent a whole day being positive. Well, yeah, a whole day. This morning, I made a few comments. I felt like I needed to stand up for myself, and I had learned that if I did stand up for myself, if I did say something when I got a comment, then what that did was, from that person not replying to what I say, just keeping quiet, I know that they didn't mean it in a bad way, and I could learn that. And that was my shit. That's what I was doing. I was making comments, and it was teaching me that these people, they didn't mean it in no particularly bad way. It was nothing personal, whatever. They have their problems, and that's why they do that. And there came a point where, like, I said a few things. I mean, I said something to one guy, and I thought, that's a bit harsh. That's a bit harsh. He probably thinks I was being mean, and I realised that if I kept saying things back when I got a comment, that I would end up having someone have a real go at me, and I didn't want that. I knew that would be negative. I knew that would upset my state of mind and like set me back a while. It would be 100% negative, and I didn't want that to happen. So what I did was, I prayed to Jesus. I said, I don't want to be this assertive. I don't want to be this strong. I don't want to be this challenging of people. I just want to calm it down a bit. I want to, please, will you give me like the right assertiveness level. I want to be quite passive. I want to have people. I soon realized, once I'd prayed that I wanted people to say their comments to me. I mean, one guy said to me, "I kill you, you have a heart." And I just, he had two daughters, yeah, and they looked really beautiful, and the way they were moving, they looked really beautiful. And I said to them in a really nice way, I says, like, please, can you excuse me, because I was getting off the bus. I decided that I wasn't going to ride the bus all the way into Ferry Meadows. I decided that I was going to get off at Queensgate and go to the toilet. I realised that when the bus stopped at Queensgate. And so I says, please, will you excuse me? And he says, like, I kill you, you have a heart. It was like, so that made me realise that I want people to say whatever they're going to say, because then what happens is that, give it a few minutes and it comes to me where they were coming from with what they were saying. I wanted that to always happen with people making comments to me. I wanted to learn from everybody who made a comment to me, or just ignore it, whatever. But I wanted people to make their comments to me. I wanted to be in that space of like passiveness. I wanted that, because like, that for me, there is so much rewardingness in like when people make comments to me, and then I realise on my own, without being mean or anything like that, because I've just learned in the last couple of days, how to learn from people making comments, how to understand where they were coming from, how to forgive them and see that they are good people and they didn't mean anything harmful. They just got angry because they got triggered, and they did it how they live. If they get triggered, they're going to say something, and that's how they live, and that's the people they are. It's not how I am, but that's how they are, and that's how they do. So it's just respecting them for who they are, you know, but keeping myself different, not trying to be like them, but trying to be like myself, trying to be like somebody who, when somebody triggers me, I just try to understand where they're coming from, just take it, you know, try to understand where they're coming from, just forgive them and, you know that they're just triggered. They deal with it that way. I don't deal with it that way, you know, that sort of thing. And I realised that he thought that I'm male, right? And because I say to these two girls in a very feminine way, oh, excuse me, please, you know, in a very feminine, very affectionate way, right? That coming from a male, you know, kind of confused his mind, you know, and he lost it. He lost the plot, you know, he just did. And so I wanted lots of comments. I wanted to be able to deal with them because, like, it had become so beautiful to me. It was literally such a beautiful experience where I got some comments, right, when I was at the dentist yesterday. I got called a slag twice when I was in the dentist surgery, in the waiting room. And then when I went to the bus stop, I got called a bastard. And then when I got to Ferry Meadows, I got called a virgin. And it was actually quite a beautiful experience because I understood where these people were coming from with what they were saying. It was like I could relate to them and I could actually, like, feel their awareness or their space or whatever they're holding from what they were saying. And just to understand that they didn't mean it in a mean way, that they were just triggered or whatever, you know, it was such a beautiful experience. And it made me realize that I'm on my path. This is who I am. This is who I want to be, you know. And if it triggers me that people make comments all the time, then it's for me to learn something. It's an experience for me to learn from. And I welcome that. And it was a really beautiful experience. And that's why I'm able to say, like, well, if people make comments, then, you know, I'm just not be bothered about it, you know. I mean, there is a time to be aggressive, you know, say something back. Usually not at the person who says it. Usually sort of later on, I'll just make a comment, like, to some random person. Because when people speak, when people are triggered and they speak, they're really looking for a confrontation. And to say it at the person who said it, you know, is going to fuel, like, a full-on confrontation. You know, people, I can understand how people, when they get triggered, they're so protective of themselves, you know. They feel like, because I felt it myself, you know, I no longer feel that way, but I felt it myself where, like, being triggered is the worst thing in the world. And to really, really get angry, you know. To be honest, I didn't have any anger at the time because I was kind of broken and I didn't know how to feel anger. But I suppose you could call it anger. I'd get really, I'd lose it. I feel like, you know, I'd feel, I suppose, hate towards the person who said the trigger. Not anger, but hate. You know, this person, they've made me feel like I'm going to lose my mind and I'm going to go do something crazy. Literally, that's how a trigger would make me feel. And I would feel like, that is so unfair. How could they do that to me? You know, that I'm remembering one trigger in particular a couple of years ago that made me feel that way. You know, how could they do that to me? That is so mean, you know. And so I can relate to that when they get very confrontational and they literally want to fight. If they get triggered and they say something and they're, like, mean to someone because they just can't handle me, to be honest. That's what it is. They just can't handle me. I've got too much light in me. And that's always the way with triggers. It's always someone who has some kind of light that I don't understand, you know, that triggers me. That's usually what it is. Anyways, that's the whole thing. That's my day, you know. I got aggressive. This is in the evening of last night. I got aggressive. I wanted to heal myself fast, and I thought that hate would do it. You know, that's very, very wrong way of feeling. But, like, that was my first reaction to feeling that way. You know, that's the first time I've felt like felt healed so fucking hard. I'd healed so hard, you know, I felt so dope. You know, I thought, right, now is my time. I've got to use my mind properly. I've got to get to the place in my mind where I want to be. And I felt like having bad negative thoughts and worrying would be the way to get there. Anyways, so I'm back to being quite passive, just taking comments. I mean, to be fair, people make comments. I make comments. You know, we all make comments. You know, and to deem it like a problem is just, this is the world we live in. You know, now we have phones. Everybody has a phone, and they're all exchanging information. They're all online. You know, and phones are all exchanging information with each other. You know, when you go on a web browser, your phone is communicating to other phones or computers. Information is being exchanged, and that's how people have become. They just exchange information quite freely, quite openly, you know. But a thing that can come out of it is triggers. People can get triggered when someone makes a comment they just want to share from their heart, you know. They say something, a person gets triggered, you know. It's just people sharing information, that's all it is. Anyway, so I'm gonna go. Hope you have a good one. Hope you enjoyed the video. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.